had separate courses to chart, and she had a part of her own to play in history. On September 2nd, 1945, the Duel would sail into Tokyo Bay, part of a 15-mile column intended to impress the Japanese with what they would have been up against had they not surrendered. With all ships dressed in battle flags, it would be an impressive show put on by the Allied forces. From the deck of the Duel, her crew would be close enough to the USS Missouri to see the formal Navy whites lined up awaiting the ceremony, and bear witness to the signing of the unconditional surrender of Japan. Most impressive would be the sight of the American flag, rippling splendidly in the breeze high above the deck of the Missouri. The same banner had flown over the United States Capitol on Pearl Harbor Day. The Duel had served me well, and I wished the very best of luck to her and her crew. With each new island the Allies fought to take back from the Japanese, the battles increased in ferocity. Iwo Jima was Japan's front door, and the Emperor's soldiers were willing to fight to the death to prevent our having a foothold so close to the island of Japan. A lot of pre-invasion planning had gone into the landing on Iwo Jima. Although seas were rougher than anticipated, and the terrain not as expected, the assault on Iwo Jima was better prepared for than any prior landings. Some previous beach landings had proven to be disastrous for the Americans. On Tarawa, due to ineffective and obsolete reconnaissance methods, many lives were lost. Miscalculation of the tides and the danger posed by unforeseen coral reefs located just below the ocean's surface prohibited vessels from landing Marines on the beach. Marines were stranded and forced to disembark their landing craft as much as 500 yards from the beach and wade across in the open under intense enemy fire. More Marines were killed when the weight of their gear submerged them after they had stepped into holes created by bombs and mortar shells. Accordingly, the Navy learned not to depend on photos and old maps to prepare their landings. It was imperative to establish underwater demolition teams, UDTs, to perform on-site reconnaissance. This allowed the military to chart approaches to the landing areas and to detonate any obstacles. Just prior to the Marines landing on Iwo Jima, the UDTs thoroughly scouted and mapped the ocean floor to provide invasion planners with the very best possible intelligence. In preparing for the assault on Iwo Jima, the demolition teams located a few anti-boat mines and destroyed them. No obstacles were found, and approaches to the island were discovered to be deep and clear. One missed calculation was the terrain. Geological samples collected in the surf had a different consistency than what was ultimately found on the beaches and dunes. This inaccuracy resulted in unforeseen problems when heavy equipment attempted to negotiate the incline up to the plateau. At 08:57 hours, naval bombardment ceased. The landing forces did not realize that 72 consecutive days of aerial attacks and naval bombardment had killed less than 200 of the enemy and done very little to prepare the island for the invasion of Marines. The first assault vehicles touched down on Iwo shore at 09:02 hours. This first wave was made up of steel-sided Amtraks, each equipped with a 75mm howitzer, 3 crewmen, and 3 machine guns. Based on pre-landing information, the landing force could not have anticipated the problem the terrain would present to them. As soon as the heavy equipment hit dry land and attempted to scale the 45-degree incline, the vehicles bogged down in the fine gravel that made up the landscape. Some never made it off the beach. The vehicles that succeeded in negotiating the grade were met with intense mortar fire as they moved inland. The ash would soon prove a hindrance for the troops as well. Amtraks, unable to navigate the incline, began piling up on the landing beaches, further impairing invasion efforts. Each wave of Marines was comprised of 1,360 men. The entire landing operation required hundreds of Higgins boats to complete the transports. Marines wore green fatigues and helmets covered with brown camouflage. Some men applied protective cream to their faces as a precaution against a flaming assault. The American striking force was more powerfully supported, better armed, and manned by more experience than any other storm landing in history. The landing force enjoyed a healthy 3-to-1